Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
Taylor Swift is a link builder. There were rumors that she would get engaged. Our client said, let's give them a free wedding venue. And then we got them 50 links. That's digital PR.
Managing multiple clients or large websites? Automate your SEO with Ali AI. Start your free trial now.
So yes, I'm Claudia, and besides all of the things that Becky say, I have a bit of a fascination with tarot cards. I think they're beautiful, but I don't really use them to tell the future. Instead, I try to tell the future looking at real data. And I thought it would be an interesting thing to look at what people in the industry in search are saying about these convoluted times to try and understand what it is that we need to do to shape our own future and stop chasing after Google. And the reason for that is that when Google sneezes, we catch a cold. And in my time in SEO, I've seen this happening a lot. I've followed every move, every shake of Google. I have followed every algorithm update, and I have wondered how much that is going to affect or impact the websites that I look after. But it has also been quite interesting to see how Google shapes or has shaped the way in which we access information. So we have been chasing Google, following, trying to understand what's happening. But over the past few years, we've seen that technology is moving super fast. ChatGPT came up and took the industry by storm. And earlier this year, Google announced that they were going to put AI at the heart of their ad services and at the heart of search results. So it feels like Google is changing right in front of our eyes. And as an industry, we are still trying to figure out what's happening and how the game is changing. And following press is sometimes a bit hard because there is a lot of misinformation. So, and it feels like the relationship that we have with Google is slightly toxic. We don't know where to go. And because the industry is in constant flux, it feels much harder. But something that is really lovely about the SEO industry is that a lot of our knowledge has been built on the collective, on our collective understanding, our own experiences, and we're very open. We tend to share a lot. So it has been following journals, press, publications, experts that I have learned to navigate what's happening in the industry. So when I wanted to understand what we're going to do about this landscape and what we need to do to shape our future, I thought, well, I'm going to look at the experts. So I did some social listening analysis of conversation around search over the past couple of years, identified some key opinion leaders around, and then expanded the search to identify around 2,500, and reduced that, or synthesized that in 16,000 different mentions, so quite a lot of data. And something that was interesting and striking was that the conversation around search is not just about algorithm updates. It's not just about what we do with links. There is more to it. We're concerned with ROI. We're concerned with content authenticity. We're worried about AI and machine learning and whether that is going to take our jobs. We care about the digital carbon footprint. So there is a lot to unpack here. So I used a framework which is called the STEEP-E. I don't know if you guys know it, but if you don't, it is a framework that businesses and organizations use to try and understand the bigger environment in which they operate and what they need to do about it and how to prioritize decisions. So it looks at it from social, technological, economic, environmental, political, and ethical perspectives. And when I clustered the conversation around those themes, it was quite interesting. Some trends began to emerge. So intelligent search is this idea that we are upon an era of intelligent search where we are providing people the answers exactly that they need when they need it, and they are highly personalized. And that's the theme that concerns the industry the most, with almost 2/3 of the conversation. We also see a lot of conversation about seamless experiences, which is around people being able to get their answers there and then, easily. But there is also a lot of concern about the cost of that visibility. So if you want to maintain visibility on Google results, how much is that going to cost? Is it going to be more efficient to spend money on paid search? Environment is not a big deal for us, unfortunately. Maybe there are some signals about green hosting and some concerns about the cost of powering AI, but it's really not a huge part of the conversation. Responsible algorithms is the political side of things, where people are concerned with Google taking content from websites and wanting Google to become more accountable and taking more responsibility for the information that they provide. And finally, the ethical part, which is around balancing trust, where we, as an industry, need to support Google in providing people with the right, with accurate knowledge, accurate information. So I am going to focus on the themes that have the most conversation. If you would like to grab a coffee later, we can talk about green responsibility and responsible algorithms. What's interesting about the conversation is that you see, I suppose that happens in every conversation, you see different sides of the spectrum. So on the one hand, you have the optimists that really believe that the future is bright and that there is a lot of economic gain to make. And then there are the less optimistic, the pessimists, and the people who are slightly anxious and they see a lot of risk in all of the AI automation we're seeing. So I'm going to go through the different themes that we explored and get them, give you just a little bit more information about what we found and what we can do about it as an industry. I have a lot of mentions in my presentation, so I'm going to play a little game with you, which is I have the mentions, I have quotes, so let's play some bingo. If you see a quote, take a note, and then the person that guesses will get some, I don't know, drink. Okay, seamless experiences, where we see that Google is moving from just providing information to actually creating experiences for people. We see that Google is being challenged, AI platforms providing information very easily, people are spending a lot of time on TikTok. We see social platforms facilitating shopping directly on them. So Google is still visited a lot, don't take me wrong, but with those amounts of visits that they are getting, there is also a great opportunity. So they are thinking, the conversation points towards Google moving on from just providing answers to providing enhanced, even immersive experiences. We also see here search beyond words, where people are able to perform searches with Google Lens. We saw that it's getting billions of users every month. We saw Apple launch Apple Vision earlier this year. And what's happening here is that Google is enabling for people to perform searches for things that they can't put on keywords. So what does that mean for us? We need to have content that responds to those searches. As part of this, what Google is also doing is they're diversifying the search results pages. So it's not just the blue link and loads of text. There is a lot to engage with on a search results page. Videos, shorts, reviews, etc. So how do we create content that responds to that? We also see an era of what I want, exactly what I want. That's what users are asking for. And this highlights a need for personalized and culturally relevant content. Again, if you think about how we search now, We are interacting with our environment using our phones. We are using them to search for the things that we're seeing. So that means that as website users, or as website owners, yes, we need to think about how do we really engage with the people that we're serving. Also, Google is enabling passive discovery, again, because of this diversification of search results. We see that Google is really just changing how people interact with content. And if you think about some of the recent changes, shopping pages, for example, if you see a shopping page now, you can look for a size, look for a color, find the right shape, and you can pretty much purchase directly on Google results or within a very small number of clicks. So what's happening there is that, again, we're not having to follow that kind of linear path where we would perform a search, then click, and then go to a website. Now what we're doing is we are interacting with Google, we're engaging with the platform, and we are discovering on it. Big theme, 0 clicks. And in the context of providing seamless experiences, this is perhaps what crystallizes that the most in what Google is trying to do. Because you get your result, and you move on. Easy. It filters out the noise. And Neil Patel said something quite interesting when he said that this was going to be the biggest impact on SEO, and that as people's habits evolve, so must content and intent mapping, and ultimately the way in which we measure our growth. So for an industry that has been built on the premise of sending clicks to websites, this poses a huge challenge. Existential crisis, but we will get to that in a moment. I mentioned this, 2/3 of the conversation is around technology. Unsurprisingly, the conversation is around AI automation. The World Economic Forum say that machine learning and AI are the skills and the professions that are growing the fastest as companies are adopting this. And when it comes to the SEO industry, we see, again, two sides. We have a couple of academics who essentially see SEO that is powered by AI as a new era of precision, where the application of SEO paves the way for more targeted SEO campaigns that will attract organic traffic to websites. So it's all very bright, very exciting. But also there are people who are wondering if all of this AI automation is going to be making them obsolete. And in fact, when we looked at the conversation, these are all the different, or some of the different tasks and activities that people are using AI for. And this is not just analysis, it's also creation, ideation. And it is actually, when it comes to AI content, where people see, or where the industry seems to be quite excited. And here, there is a lot of opportunity because we can produce content at scale, and tons on it that follows exactly the guidelines or the prompts that we've given. Some people getting very excited, saying that this is going to revolutionize how we produce content that is optimized for natural referencing. But I really want us to pay attention to the natural referencing thing, because this is exactly the thing that Google has been saying to the industry and has been challenging SEO for years, which is that we should not be producing content that is optimized for search. Yes, it needs to follow certain guidelines, but we need to have the users at the heart of it. We really need to be informative. And we need to remember that Google has a goal, and their goal is to reference all of the information that is available and provide users with the best possible answers. That's what they're trying to do, even with enhanced experiences. So we need to help Google in that endeavor. We need to figure out how we produce content that helps Google provide frictionless, seamless, intuitive experiences, because that's where they're heading to. But at what cost, say a lot of people? And we see a paradigm shift in the economic side of things. So this is a quote by Gartner, which is a competitor of Kantar. Sorry about that, employer, but this is a very good quote. And Gartner predicted that by 2028, 50% of organic traffic to websites will go. You see that there are consultancies that are now claiming that they can increase or optimize for visibility on ChatGPT. Google is obviously implementing SGEs, so this is really not far-fetched. But we should remember that Google's business is still to make brand visible. It is important for them to do that. That's what's going to keep them in business as well. So how do we manage that? And in this paradigm shift, again, we see different themes emerging. So again, the positives, the optimistic, saying that this is going to bring an era of economic opportunity where we're going to be able to provide more personalized results and where we'll be able to convert directly on the platform. But then there are people that are more skeptical and are saying, why would we bother with SEO? Because it is time-consuming, it requires a lot of effort and a lot of money. So, somebody actually said this, that it felt like a never-ending chase. Also, Google is making paid search much easier to access. They are automating ad creation, ad placement. So, again, why bother with SEO when you can potentially pay for it? And in businesses, there are ROI pressures. We see it everywhere. Everyone wants to save. And this era of AI generation of content and automation of tasks is getting finance people very excited because they think that they're going to save a lot. Search Engine Land did an analysis where they looked at or sponsored results versus organic results, and they demonstrated that the boundaries or the differences between the two are becoming quite blurred. And they say that this is requiring for advertisers to adjust their strategies. That, added to the fact that we find it very hard to demonstrate that we are driving traffic to websites, is going to make it even harder for us as an industry. And because there is so much pressure, then there is okay, we need to embrace AI technologies and we need to do it as soon as possible. But this is something that we really need to be careful with, because it could be efficient to use AI, but if what we're trying to do is to provide more personalized content, content that responds better to user behavior, content that provides better experiences, this may not be the answer, or it may require a lot of prompting. So we need to be very careful and mindful of the risks. I'm not saying don't adopt it, but question it. Kantar, the company I work for, we are the world leaders in brand tracking and measurement. And every year we produce a report. It's called Brand Z. It's publicly available. And this report values the most powerful brands in the world. So here you see them, quite a lot of money involved. And what I want you to think about is, in SEO, what role you have in the greater marketing of the brand that you work with. If we think about it, the role that communications have is about creating positive associations of the brand, getting people to love your brand and predispose them to eventually buy it. How do we achieve that? There is something that all these brands have in common, and it's that their communications are distinct. You can see an Apple ad and you know that it's Apple. Same with Google, same with Microsoft. Their communications are meaningful and they're memorable. And as SEOs, this is what we need to aim for with our content. Green search, I already said that I wasn't going through to run through a lot of that, so I'm going to skip it because I don't have a lot of time. Responsible algorithms, that's people being concerned about Google taking content from other platforms. Combating misinformation. So earlier this year, Google released an update where they are combating misinformation. They are making it much easier to demote websites that have deep fakes and to remove that kind of content. And this is something that, again, Google has been preaching for years. Misinformation, this is something that we need to tackle. This is something that we need to address. And this calls, again, for our industry to be mindful of that. How do we optimize for great user experience, but also how do we take responsibility for the content that we're putting out there? Which takes me to the final bit, which is balancing trust. I promise I only have 2 minutes left. And, sorry. Here, there was a Chima Meje on the Moz blog. She said something quite interesting that said, if AI content is going to become so prevalent, it is likely that readers will abandon it and that readers will become more mistrusting and that they will end up gravitating towards opinion leaders or people that are really showing that they offer trustworthy information. And whether AI inaccuracies are intentional or not, it is our responsibility, if we're using AI or not, to be ethical also in our approach to optimization. I take the call to action from Lily Ray, who said that playing the long game and staying true to ethical SEO practices is key to navigating the ever-evolving landscape. So we need to produce content that is meaningful to consumers. We need to understand their intent, and we need to understand what it is that we want to communicate, what our services, our brands benefit, what benefit they offer to them, and produce content that, or create experiences that really live up to what consumers want and need. Annika Hataja said something quite helpful, that this idea that creating helpful content is never going to go out of fashion. That resonated a lot with me. So to finalize, what does this all mean? So I picked 3 quotes that, to me, crystallize what the industry needs to focus on. So the first one is learning. The second one is EEAT. So those 2 aren't particularly new. But it was actually Gareth Cassells who gave me some hope and got me excited about the future of the industry. He says that companies that optimize for knowledge and empathy will be the ones controlling the narratives for their industries and ultimately helping to lead the AI revolution. And it was this idea of empathy that really resonated with me, because I'd never heard this in SEO. How do we think about our users? How do we think about our consumers? How do we respect the time that they are giving us engaging with our content? We need to be mindful of all of that. So yes, it is about optimizing for all the different things that we optimize for, but also we need to put users at the heart of it. So to finalize, a few takeaways. Optimize for experience and add value with empathy. Quality content is still key, even though we may be attracted by the promise of quantities and high volumes of content. We need to rethink measurement. We need to rethink how we demonstrate ROI. And brand is going to be an important part of that. Understand what value you're adding to your brand beyond clicks or rankings is going to be quite important. Embrace AI as a tool. It's not going to replace you, don't be afraid, but don't do it blindly. Assess the risks and experiment. Human knowledge is still going to be quite important and crucial for strategic thinking, for creativity, and for ethical decision making. Embrace that. And the last one is stay agile, because there is a bit of chaos out there. The world is in flux, Google is changing, and we need to be prepared to change with it. So keep up learning. Thank you.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.